All right. Oh my God.
Oh man,
um,
it's gonna work.
so for this week, I chose The Empyrean by John Frusciante. The last album he released before leaving the Chili Peppers. Flea plays on it. Um, I didn't I listened to this album like one time before suggesting it just to see if it wasn't like the worst thing ever. I only I haven't listened to this album fully until this week. Um, I only knew about it because I knew the song Central was on it, and I knew that was a sick song, and I was like, maybe the album's good. Hence me suggesting. So, Dan, you hate the Chili Peppers. Why don't you go first?
What the hell? Okay, yeah, I'll go first. Hold on, I have to pull this up. His name is.
Notes.
No, I don't have any notes. I'm going off script. I'm going off the map this week.
Classic Dan.
Right, Empyrean. Okay. I thought this album was fine. I went into it really not expecting. I had no idea what John F's musical output was outside of the Chili Peppers, because I just never listened to him. So this was kind of a surprise, because it was kind of this like almost prog rock almost album where it had these like really weird arrangements and like very long songs. I feel like I probably wouldn't listen to this outside of this little group we have here, just because uh, it's a little, I don't know what to call it. It's just like a little too like spiritual, I guess, is a word I'm seeing here on Rate Your Music that I'm stealing, which kind of seems right. It's a little too like sparse, and the whole of the songs really like hit me in a way that I was like, oh, this is really good. I'm gonna listen to this again. I like the third song. That's Unreachable. That one was pretty good. I felt like on Dark Light at like 2 minutes, there's like that electronic drum thing that happens. That's like totally out of nowhere. I'm still not sure if I like that or not, because it doesn't really fit with the song, but it's also kind of like wacky, haha. Um, the last two songs I also don't really care for. I feel like the album could have stopped at Central, and it could have just been a cool ending, end with a bang. And I probably would have liked the album if it had fewer songs. That's pretty much it. I give this a soft 3.
Soft 3.
Soft 3. Final answer.
Jake.
All right.
Can you please explain why you have Ozzy Osbourne? Because I don't think any of us
I was right.
understand.
Apparently, I know, but I
was
don't
writing
know at
notes.
all.
I was
Are
writing
those fake notes?
and by the time I got to Heaven, the song Heaven, not actual Heaven, I wrote for Heaven bad Ozzy ripoff, and then the next song I was going to write the same thing, and then also on God I said this has kind of Sabbath vibes, and then I just kept finding myself saying this is just a bad Ozzy wannabe that isn't even close.
Oh my god.
The first opening track. All right, I thought this was gonna be like an instrumental album from that opening track. I've never heard of John Frusciante, or however you say his last name. And his tone was nice. The drum delay in the beginning before the guitar came in was really annoying. But then once the guitar came in, it kind of made sense. The song to the siren, he like whispers at the end. That was disgusting. I wanted to rip my ears out. I really wish he didn't do that. unreachable. You can't hear the vocals, and then what you can hear has like really weird effects on it that I couldn't make sense of. And the vocals kept changing levels. So it was like really quiet and then like loud and then quiet. I don't know why. And then Dark Light, he had that falsetto going on, and a really not pleasurable drum machine. And then, as mentioned, I got to Heaven and wrote that Ozzy ripoff, and then pretty much every song after that wrote the same thing.
What?
So I really did not enjoy this album. I wished it was just an instrumental because the first song wasn't that bad, but then he started talking, and it was not my thing. I would never listen to this again, and I never would have listened to it if Will didn't suggest this.
Ruins everything.
So I gave it a 0.5.
A 0.5?
Wow.
It was that bad?
I don't
bottom
agree
of
with
the
that at
barrel of
all. I
music.
don't think it's a
It was
0.5 at all.
hard to listen to.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
even crazier than if you said 5 out of 5. The bottom of music.
That's nuts. Okay. I have a question.
Wow. Yeah.
I've never listened to Ozzy Osbourne. What does that mean? Like,
Oh, I mean, like very similar themes, and a lot of some of the songs, like I mentioned, on like God and Heaven, like he has the same like vocal like tendencies. I don't know, like
got it.
just listen to Ozzy and you'll be like, oh, okay, I see it.
Okay, I'll try after this.
All right. Sam?
Wowee.
I have a lot to say about this record.
Oh my god.
Yep. Okay. Well, I'll just walk you through the whole thing. So it starts off. So okay, this is what I know about John Frusciante is that he's a guitarist of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Lots of guitar players love to talk about him and like to listen to him. And I never really understood why. I knew that he had iconic guitar parts, but like the soloing, like the actual talent behind him, I didn't really understand. And then I've heard stories about his 90s output, which is like the peak of his drug addiction. And he apparently released like really lo-fi, like hard to listen to records to try to make money when he wasn't part of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So I never knew him to be, that's like all I knew him as. Not really the guy who like did solo stuff that was great or even like a great guitarist personally. And the album starts off right away with like a 9-minute guitar solo, like it's straight out of Maggot Brain. Like what I mean? It's a kind of a ripoff in that way, but still, you're putting a 9-minute guitar solo in front of all your other music. Like it's the pleb filter. You know what I mean? And then that right away, I immediately understood him as a guitar player and like respected his talents right off the bat. And then as it went on, I loved every time he played the guitar, but he didn't do it that often. But when he did, it was pretty cool. Also, Johnny Marr of the Smiths is on this album.
Oh,
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, this
Which
album's
song?
actually decked out. I'm just on the wiki page, and I can't see immediately which songs it is, but yeah, like instrumentally, the album is decked out, and the like organ parts or the keyboard parts, I feel like probably John Frusciante does that too. Whoever does it kills it. What else is there? The vocals could not get behind at all. Like there wasn't any like the sound of his voice. I never had a point where I was into it. But he had good melodies. Like I thought there were good melodies behind it. It was just the vehicle of the melodies I didn't like that much. But all in all, the album is like straight out of 70s art rock. Like this is exactly what an early Genesis album sounds like. I'm a big fan of. Like it's exact. Like I don't know if you guys have heard it, but it's exactly how it's done here. Like even the vocal timbre and all, which I'm a big fan of. And then so I was really like following this album the whole way through. And I listened to it once, and then got a picture of it, and then I listened to it again and kind of just solidified all my thoughts on it. And then I was like, wow, this is exactly my kind of music. Like this might be a 4.5, but that's a big claim. This might be my favorite album we've heard so far. And then the sad thing happened. I got for some strange reasons I got like big Buckley vibes from it. And then the radio came on afterwards. You know how like Spotify radio plays, and it went on to it might have been like Grace by Jeff Buckley or something. And listen to that album, and I think the instrumentation might be similar, but his ceiling of dynamics is so much higher than the Empyrean, and I think that that's like the fault of this album is that the dynamic ceiling is actually kind of pretty low, especially with John Frusciante's voice. Like he's not a belter, and he can't really reach there. And for some kinds of music, that's okay, but this kind of music, I feel like needs someone to send it, and nothing really gets sent. And then through further investigation, he is directly inspired by the Buckley family. What is it? Song to the Siren is a Tim Buckley song. It's a cover.
Oh my
I
god!
didn't know that.
Wow,
Wow.
that's crazy.
Yep. Off Song Sailor, which is like wait, no, I lied about that. What's it called? Star
What?
Sailor. It's off Star Sailor, which is like the like artsy era of Tim Buckley. So it checks out.
I thought
So
you just lied.
no, I didn't lie. So I listened to the Jeff Buckley album and decided that's not. This thing's not 4.5. It's a 4, but a good 4. And
Wow.
and those are my conclusions.
Interesting.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay. So I have very specific opinions on this album. Like I said, I have not listened to it before this week, aside from Central, which I think is like the only reason I'd ever come back to this album. I love that song. So a little history about John Frusciante. Like Sam was saying, he started off with like lo-fi, like hard to listen to acoustic shit in the 90s. And then he kind of, as he rejoined the band, he started putting out more of just like more acoustic or rock based kind of singer songwriter type music. And after this album is when he started getting into like electronic stuff, producing hip hop. So this is kind of the transition of those two sides of him. And I think that's where some of the awkwardness comes from. And like keep in mind, he was already making money, so he didn't really like, this was mostly for him. He doesn't care about the commercial success for this song or for this album, which I think is why there's absolutely no vocal compression throughout the entire thing, as like Jake was mentioning, and it's really infuriating. Like, dude, just throw a compressor on the vocals. It's not that hard. I think it starts off strong. I like the beginning. Like Jake said, or Dan said, the last two songs like didn't need to be on the album. I do like the song after Central because he sings like obscenely low for no reason. I think it's kind of funny. I liked I liked a lot of the guitar playing on this album, but I didn't like the first song at all. Like the first time I listened to it, I was like, wow, this is cool. But it's really just a maggot brain ripoff with a worse hook, like Sam said. But I think the best album, or the best part about this album, is the vocal hooks and the just the hooks in general. Like I think John Frusciante, he is the reason why the Chili Peppers are so successful. Like most of the famous hooks that they're known for, he wrote. And I think that's the biggest strength of this album. There are some great vocal hooks in the middle of just like weird songs with like the least catchy verses you've ever heard. So I think like there are parts I like, there are parts I don't like. Originally I was gonna give it a 3.5, then I was leaning toward a 3. But after hearing Jake's terrible opinion, probably wrong opinion, I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Wow.
And I should say, I haven't listened to a ton of his solo music. The only album I really like dug into was Shadows Collide with People. and it's more of an acoustic album. It's more of a vocal focused album. And by the way, Sam, I do get what you were saying about his vocals. That he like he like overdosed or something, and there was something that happened where like his house burned down, and that was kind of his wake up call. He lost like all of his like thousands of dollars worth of guitars in the 90s, and his vocals didn't sound the same after that. Like I think it has like that weird. He has a weird vocal quality where it's like kind of squeaky and like, but then also like sultry at the same time. It's weird, but like after that he like had to get surgery on his arms because of all the drugs he was doing, and his vocals didn't sound the same after that. So it is something you have to kind of get past. But I do think he's a talented singer. I do think he's a talented songwriter. But yeah, 3.5.
Woohoo!
I can't believe you gave it a 4.
I can't believe Jake gave it a 0.5.
I know.
That
This
was
is
the
like
real
such a
crazy one. I was-
polarizing album.
I know. No, I was actually really into it. I just walked. Like I wasn't even doing other things while I was doing. I was just like walking and listening.
Sam, I think you should listen to Shadows Collide with People just on your own. You might like it. I was gonna suggest it before I suggested this.
Shadows Collide.
This is so far our lowest rated album.
Yeah, just because
Wow.
of one person.
Okay.
Literally just because of one person.
Thanks, Jake. Shout out Jake.
2004.
I have
Did
to
you at least, Jake? Did you at least like Central? Just as
I
a
don't know.
song.
I don't know the song titles. Let me pull it up real quick.
gives it a 0.5. Doesn't even know what they're called.
I
0.5.
admittedly saw no Ozzy Osbourne in it.
That's crazy. The only other 0.5 Jake has on his Rate Your Music is Eminem's Revival, which I never listened to, but I could imagine is like 20 times worse than this album.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Jake's off the map right now.
Central was alright, but it did not need to be 7 minutes.
I don't know. I think like the vocal hook or the bridge like ended up being behind the guitar solo. I thought that was a really cool effect, and that was the only. It really like that was the only song on the album where I liked the production. Like that, like I thought the production was like serviceable, and there was vocal compression. There was like changes in vocal volume. I don't know. But yeah. Weird.
Are we ready to get down to business?
Yeah, what is it, Sam?
So excited.
Well, I think the oldest album we've done is 1994,
I was gonna go old. Okay, yeah, let's hear it. Continue.
and we've only been doing like really modern albums. So I wanted to do a 50s album, but there's actually only so many 50s albums that I really get into. They're mostly jazz. And I tried to pick one that Dan wouldn't already have an opinion on, so he'd have to work a little more. So I really wanted to do Blue Train by John Coltrane,
I already have an opinion on that.
but Dan already has an opinion on it. So I was like, all right, let's fast forward 10 years or 11 years. And I landed on Joy of a Toy by Kevin Ayers. He is co-founder of Soft Machine,
Yes, he is.
which is like a well-known but very underground band in the Canterbury scene. So they're also 70s art rock. And Robert Wyatt, he's like the big guy from the bands, but he co-founded with Kevin Ayers. And I actually like this Kevin Ayers album better than Robert Wyatt's. That's the backstory. It is Joy of a Toy.
Robert Wyatt's on this album too.
Oh, I believe it.
It's nothing to believe. It's the truth.
And Sid Barrett.
Punk. Sid Barrett's on. Holy shit! Are you serious?
Yeah,
Dan's already giving this a 4.5. Get ready.
exactly. Yeah, me too. Hopefully I give it a 4.5 that way. I don't give like 10,000 fours in a row.
Very cool. Okay.
I'm gonna give
Y'all
Jake's
are
next
excited.
pick a 0.5. There's spite.
Right. Jake trashed it. One of the worst albums Jake has ever heard. That's incredible.
Like I feel like you guys more than me have very like specific music tastes, and certain things will trigger you versus not trigger you. And so I thought somebody would like really like it or somebody would not like it at all. So it doesn't. It kind of surprised. Like maybe like a 1.5, but
Right.
I was going back and forth between a 1 and a 0.5 just
Wow.
because the opening track.
Wow. You listened to a 0.5 2 times in 1 week?
wow.
Yeah.
You doing okay?
Yeah. I was listening like while I was cooking, and then Maya walked in the kitchen. I was like, "What the fuck are you listening to?" And she also did not like it.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's more. He did not care about production. Definitely didn't.
Yeah.
Amen.
All right. Well,
Amen, bro.
Kevin Ayers.
This guy has a lot of low-rated albums, like in the 80s.
Kevin
Yeah.
Ayers.
Oh,
yeah. The dude, because he was he did this and he did Soft Machine, and then I don't know, like it's weird music. Like I don't know how many times you can spin that specific weird idea around and come up with something that people keep liking.
All right.